She holds that beloved guitar like Kyle holds the scepters.
Right.
The Chiefs broke a streak on Sunday. They hadn't scored a single point in the second half since late October, week 7, against the Chargers. But against the Raiders, they put up 17 in the second 30 of the game, and they rolled to a 31-17 win. After we saw what happened in Vegas, Chiefs going down, coming back, scoring in the second half, Jason, do you acknowledge the doubters that the Chiefs had going into that game, and have they silenced them?
Silence them, I'm not going to go that far. I think the Chiefs, the doubters, you're not really being serious. I don't think anybody looks at the Kansas City Chiefs and you're like, oh, well, they're not going to be that great. They have Patrick Mahomes, they have Travis Kelce. But for me, as I watched them, the doubters, you can't not talk about how great this defense has been. And you're talking about Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator. You look at that game this past Sunday, and next thing you know, Kansas City Chiefs are down 14-0. And next thing you know, you're watching Jacobs just running down the sideline, stiff-arming somebody for a 60-yard run. And you're really nervous at this point because the offense has struggled. The one thing that has kept you in games has been the defense. And then they come out in the second half. They allowed just 3 points. They're 4th in sacks with 37. They're a top 5 defense. And as many stats as you want to look at, they just shut down the Raiders in the second half. Devontae Adams had many plays in the first half, 0 catches in the second half. So as I look at them, the doubters, you have to be quiet because you've never seen a Patrick Mahomes-led team that has a defense like this one. And Spagnuolo has been so good, and a lot of it has been the play of the secondary. Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, those guys locking up whoever the opposing receivers are, and then they go out there and they do it week after week. And it's Spagnuolo dying up pressure on the exact down that they needed to get home, whether it's McDuffie on a blitz or Karlaftis coming up with a sack, and then Chris Jones, obviously, in the middle, he had a 4th down stop that was tremendous in that past game. So I look at this Chiefs team, and I think the doubters have to be quiet because of how well the defense has played.
You know who they play this week? It's kind of a cool game. Mahomes and the boys go to Lambeau and play the Packers, and suddenly the red-hot Packers, who have just rattled off 2 straight, are up against the Chiefs. And you know, Michael Vick I work with on the weekends, and he's played for Andy Reid, and I said, what do you make of it? They don't score in the second half. He's like, it's week 11. I'm like, no, but it's not week 1 or week 2. It's week 11. It's week 11. They'll figure it out. The season's so long that eventually it was going to click, and then it did in the second half, and Rashee Rice became the guy. I've been wondering who's the wide receiver. Is this going to be, or is it going to be like last year where this week it's Rice, next week it's Watson, the week after that it's Sky Moore, the week after that Tony's back and healthy, it's going to be him. Hardman's back and healthy, it's going to be him. I don't know if they saw that. I don't know if they're going to be able to do this like they used to do. I don't think this is the team that would score 55 straight points in a game. I don't know if this is the team that can say, okay, this time we're just going to go to Tyreek Hill for the... I don't know if they have that anymore. I don't know if they have that pure punch power. I don't know if they need it. The AFC is weird. Just when you want to crown a team, the following week the team lets you down. Just when you say, okay, well, this is the Texans. Texans are 6-5. Then you say, okay, well, it's the Ravens. Well, then the Ravens are going to have a strange loss to Cleveland. The AFC is wide open. I think what they have is enough to win. The key thing is that number 1 seed. They don't lose at home. They lost 1 time to the Bengals in an AFC Championship game. If they can get the home field advantage and the bye, they're 1 step closer. But are they solved? They beat a bad Raiders defense, and they put up a bunch of points against a team that they've just walloped for years. I don't think they've solved. I don't know if it is solvable, and I don't know if it's too late, but it might not have to be solvable. What they have might be enough this year.
Well, I think what was catnip for this conversation was the Eagles' loss with the MVS dropped. Like that was a content gift if you want to doubt the Chiefs, because since Tyreek Hill left, it's always been, do they have enough? Do they have enough? And there you have Patrick Mahomes making a heroic throw against the league's best team for the win, and it's dropped. And you say, well, then the magic is gone, and they can't count on them. Listen, here's what you can count on. They're going to finish, 12-5. Maybe they go 13-4. I'm with Peter. What they lord over everyone isn't Mahomes and Kelce and Reed. It's that the AFC title game is the Arrowhead Invitational. They host it every year. They don't always win it, but they always host it. When this thing will be really shaken up will be if, wow, Baltimore got the 1 seed. And then Baltimore's got to follow through and continue to win. Because they may be the 1 seed, but then if they lose, then it still goes back to Arrowhead. I want to see Mahomes play a true road playoff game and go to a title game that's in Miami or Jacksonville. And I'm also I'm looking about who's going to be your champion. Who's going to be we beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, because the Burrow factor is obviously eliminated. If you look at the front runners, it's the Dolphins, it's the Ravens, it's the Jaguars. The one that's fascinating is Denver, because Denver already did the business to Kansas City. They added more catnip to this. So if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm not terribly worried about some of these other front runners. We can handle them. Denver is fascinating to me. The Peyton thing is a new factor in this era that you have. It's not been Russ is a new factor, and they already drew blood. So watching the other teams, watching to see if the Chiefs got the 1 seed, I'm not terribly worried that MVS dropped it and they lost the Eagles in week. Who cares? Get the 1 seed, play the AFC Arrowhead Invitational, and it's Chiefs as always. I'm not worried yet.
I don't think it was the silence of doubters as much as if I was a Chiefs within the team or organization or a fan. Like, I would be worried that the doubters kind of like sat up a little straighter and they're like, oh, we've identified how we can take advantage. And that's not what you want. If you are a powerhouse football team, you don't want your opponents to say, like, now we understand how to take you down. And I think a lot of it does have to do with Travis Kelce. Along with that October 22nd game against the Chargers, Travis Kelce had 179 yards in that game. It was great. That was the last time the Chiefs had points in the second half, was on October 22nd. The next 3 games were rough for the Chiefs. He could not get over 60 receiving yards in the next 3 games. That Philadelphia Eagles one is real, to Kyle's point. The Kevin Byard trade to arrive in Philadelphia, and essentially the argument is from a historical podcast, like, Byard, man, he's really tough. He made Travis Kelce's life miserable that day. And if other teams can finally identify, we've sat at this table and asked Jason, how do you stop that man? He's like, I don't know. If they have unlocked the door to how you slow down this Chiefs offense, and if it's keeping Travis Kelce with 60 yards or under, then that might be a problem. He had 90. He had 6 catches against the Raiders. I know 60 to 90 isn't a huge jump, but obviously it was some sort of difference maker to get the offense rolled out.
Who might be the ultimate Travis Kelce stopper, and we haven't seen them go up against this Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore.
Ooh.
What he does is sort of built to be exactly that, because, like you said yesterday, he could play corner and safety, but he could also play the nickel corner, and that's the kind of guy that could just eliminate a tight end. Yeah. If we get that matchup, like, I'm already excited for that Baltimore versus KC, because Kyle Hamilton might be finally the X factor that stops them.
And the player that you showed, Rashee Rice, that to me is the biggest thing with Travis Kelce, because a team can go in like Philly did. You put Byard on him and you double team him. If nobody else on the offense steps up, it allows you to put 2 defenders on Travis Kelce and say, you know what, we'll guard everybody else one-on-one on the outside because we believe in our matchup over Rashee Rice or MVS or whoever it is on the outside. That to me is the biggest thing. Somebody else stepping up, which forces Kelce to get one-on-one coverage, and now he can go to work.